Welcome to Around the Peninsula. I'm Senior Airman Devin Notestein. A spark can create much more than just a fire. Army Sergeant Frank Sanchez introduces us to a man who burns his way into people's homes.
In the Yongsan Concession Mall, there's an artist who paints with fire to create wood-burning pieces of art called pyrography. For Choi Moon Song, one particular piece of art he created left a long-lasting impact.
One thing I remember most is when a soldier based here at Yongsan went off to war in Iraq and died. To remember him, a few of his friends asked me to create the artwork that he liked. And at that moment, I decided to continue on with this profession.
Choi's job has allowed him to make many friends during his 13 years of teaching and creating art for the military community. He keeps in touch with many of his customers.
Thanks to social media like Facebook, soldiers stationed on other bases in the United States or Afghanistan still write or even visit me when they come back to Korea. So that's definitely one of the most rewarding parts.
Army Sergeant Frank Sanchez, Yongsan, Korea.
Choi Moo-song participated in the Richardson School of Arts and Gallery Portrait Competition held in Wisconsin. With the U.S. Armed Forces in Korea for over 60 years, some items will inevitably need to be disposed of. Army Sergeant Kelly Wiebe tells us about the disposal.
The U.S. and ROK armies load 1,800 tons of ammunition onto boats on the coast at Chinhae, South Korea. Some of the munitions, detonators, and propellants date back to the early 1960s.
Munitions right now are expired or are faulty in some way, shape, or form, so the U.S. has determined that they need to be exported for demolition. As far as safety is concerned, it takes the dangerous and faulty munitions out of the hands of the war fighters, whether they be Korean or U.S., and safely disposes of them.
Since both nations use these munitions, both nations work together to dispose of them.
I think it's very important to capture the capabilities of both U.S. forces and ROK forces and what we bring to the table and allows us to work in a combined environment.
Army Sergeant Kelly Wiebe, Chinhae, South Korea.
The ammo will move from Chinhae to a disposal point in Japan. A remote assignment to Korea can put life on hold for a year. Staff Sergeant Brian Gratz takes us to Kunsan Air Base, Korea, where one airman is using his skills in the water to further his future goals.
One of the best ways to beat the heat at Kunsan is to take a dip in the pool.
Coming here, you can do aerobic activities for hours, and it's a great workout.
But without lifeguards like Airman First Class Austin Woods, swimmers couldn't even make a splash.
Definitely lifeguard training is where my heart lies, especially here when lifeguards are mandatory. It's a nice feeling knowing that you are, a line of defense between water and people.
And while he takes lifeguarding seriously, it's a skill he's been working on since he was young.
I was always in the pool, and my sister was a lifeguard before me. She's 2 years older, and so she got me into the right path. I ended up taking a Red Cross training class, and once I passed that, at 15, I put in my application for the YMCA, and I got hired.
It's also a skill that is crucial for recreational programs like this to work.
We have to depend on our airman lifeguards, and those airman lifeguards are the lifeblood of our pool. We have to have them to make this pool work.
But his lifeguard work doesn't end with the summer. He's keeping his skills sharp so he can reach future goals.
I always thought I'd want to go further into the aquatics directing, running my own pools or running pools for other people, especially training. I love training.
But until that time comes, he's content with making sure swimmers can enjoy the pool here at Kunsan.
Getting to use my knowledge to help other people, it helps to keep our pools open so everyone can swim and have a good time during the summer.
I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Brian Gratz, Kunsan Air Base, Korea.
The Kunsan Outdoor Recreation swimming pool hours are Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 1 in the afternoon and 5 until 7 in the evening. Information is a key asset in combat situations, and early warnings are vital for protecting troops. Army Sergeant Stephen Dornbos has the life or death story.
Detecting and limiting the spread of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear hazards is a critical job on the battlefield. For training, soldiers suit up at Yongsan CBRN Defense School, sweating their way through an 80-hour course.
It was more rigorous than I thought. You have to retain a lot of information. When it comes to chemical, biological, or radiological material, there's a lot to go through. And then, of course, the mop gear.
During field training, students work in teams and react to identify seaborne hazards, contamination avoidance, limiting the spread of contamination, and advising the commander.
Students, when they first get here, some of them don't even have a baseline, so they've learned a lot while being here, and you really see the soldiers excel during the S6 lanes because you see them performing the task, and even with this weather, it's not stopping them, so they did a really good job today.
Okay, I am prepared to copy.
Despite all the gear, despite all the sweat, despite all the hard work, you have to stay focused on what you're doing because you're clearing the area or warning other soldiers about certain situations. I mean, nobody wants to walk into a contaminated area unprotected, and that's our job.
Army Sergeant Stephen Dornbos, Yongsan, Korea.
The USFK and 8th Army Seaburn Defense School conducts 11 courses every year. It's not a secret that having pets can bring joy into our lives, but caring for them is a lifelong commitment. Army Sergeant Stephen Dornbos tells us how pet owners can better care for their pets.
Raising animals is a pleasure for many people, but if you want to have pets, especially on post, there are a few things you should know beforehand.
There are certain garrison rules that they have to follow. They have to register their animals at the Yongsan Veterinary Clinic, first of all. And second of all, there are rules against just abandoning pets here on post. People that have pets here are financially responsible for them, and they're ethically responsible to care for them while they're here.
That also applies to animals who may not be of the furry variety.
The same goes for small mammals or small reptiles like turtles, hamsters, that sort of thing. You can't just release those into the wild. One, they're not native to Korea in general, and two, there are other laws and regulations through Korea about just releasing, say, turtles into the wild.
We asked the turtles what they thought. They declined to comment. You might think owning a pet is a simple thing, but it takes a lot of responsibility. Army Sergeant Stephen Dornbos, Yongsan, Korea.
For more information about registering your pets, visit your installation veterinary clinic. Interns at Camp Humphreys are making the leap from cadets to future engineers. Senior Airman Robert Mason has the story.
High-speed cadets from the U.S. are learning about what could someday be a viable career path.
It allows cadets from both West Point and ROTC to get the experience or the opportunity to interact with civilian corps employees and sometimes green suiters, which is what composes the districts, to gain valuable experience.
They'll work with construction representatives in the field to see firsthand every aspect of the job, including project management, project engineering, and quality assurance.
Whether you're a mechanical, civil, or electrical engineer, the internship gives you a lot of hands-on experience in a construction environment. So it's good because then in school you get to learn about theories and formulas and everything like that, but then over here you actually get to see what you would do as an engineer on a daily basis, so it's a good experience for the future.
Spending time in Korea also allows them to draw cultural parallels using engineering as a reference point.
I'm a Korean American, so I've grew up with two different types of cultures, both the Korean culture and the American culture. So I think I could be almost a liaison officer that could kind of bridge the difference between two different cultures.
The internship is proving to be an effective method of teaching and also quite the recruiting tool.
I would definitely be interested in joining the Corps of Engineers, especially after getting to experience what they do on a daily basis. I definitely think it's an awesome organization.
Senior Airman Robert Mason, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
The Far East District internship shows cadets the day-to-day business of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. That was your Around the Peninsula for Thursday, August 13th. To see these stories and others, go to the AFN Pacific website or view them through the AFN Pacific app. From all of us at AFN, enjoy your evening.
When the temperatures rise, staying hydrated is important, whether you're playing sports or just hanging out in the sun. Remember to drink enough water to prevent heat-related injuries. Also, begin exercise well hydrated by drinking plenty of fluids the day prior, before, during, and after your exercise session. Beat the heat by staying hydrated and have a safe summer.